Meanwhile, here in America, from my experience and my research, right, bodybuilding doesn't move anything, right? Now it's a cult,
Facts.
it's a cult sport, right? It's the baddest of the bad, right? But it's a cult sport, right? We've been overpassed by yeah, but we've been overpassed by UFC, right? Like
Yeah.
we're not as relevant as boxing is, and boxing, right, has gone from the acme of sportsmanship, right, to what you watch if Mayweather's fighting.
I told you all bodybuilding was not a sport. There's nothing athletic about bodybuilding. Zero. You just heard from the man himself who did an entire movie about this. Tell you that it's a cult sport and it doesn't move anything. Like I told you, it's a beauty pageant. There are men out here who are training all of these hours in the gym, sacrificing, their social lives with meal, prep and, being awkward, socially awkward with their families, all to get on stage for a few minutes with another group of men so they can see who looks better. Nothing about that even sounds, integral or correct. Jonathan Majors was trained by Ronnie Coleman, the quote unquote, GOAT of bodybuilding or whatnot. Look at where he is now. He had Jonathan Majors eating around 6,100 calories a day, training 3 times daily or whatnot. Listen, Ronnie Coleman, we all know, was on the juice, all the help in the world to achieve what he achieved. And then we see the end result of that with him right now, with having no function in his body, and that's sad to see. It's pretty depressing to see. So him training the GOAT, training Jonathan Majors for this movie, and then Jonathan Majors still having that same feedback about the culture of bodybuilding should let you guys know. Listen, man, leave the beauty pageant stuff for the women. Let them figure out, who looks better among each other. Men, we should be involved in combat, being gladiators. And this is just my personal opinion, but nothing about me would feel right going to the gym multiple times a day just to put on a mankini later on and get on stage with a bunch of other juice heads, because a lot of them, the majority of them, are juice heads. Steroids are, and all the help is just as common as going to the water fountain right now and getting some water. They're in all the gyms, whether they look like it or not. Steroids are in all the gyms. Some people just don't eat right with them. Some people use them for other, sports like powerlifting or whatnot, But all the people who use steroids don't all look the same. So steroids are just as common, as everyone else. But these individuals get on these weird draining meal preps, and these weird draining diets to pretty much see at some point in time, and if you want to reach the mecca where they're actually getting paid, your Phil Heaths and Ronnie Colemans and all them, you got to be on the stuff. You gonna be on it. So you're pretty much trying to out genetic each other and out drug each other. Out genetic each other because your body has its genetic capabilities, where your muscles tie in, which means those people who have the bicep who sits up, that sits up very tall, they have that gap right here before they even start squeezing their bicep. Me, I have a longer bicep. So when I make a muscle, there is no gap there. It's just a full, muscle head. So where your muscles tie in from your lats all the way down to the bottom, some people have the ones that tie into the bottom, which give them that, the good spread or whatever, or the high insertion points. I have the high insertion points or whatnot. So mine wouldn't look like some others. So they're out there comparing each other's genetics with each other's drugs. That's it. The NPC is definitely drugged. The IFBB is definitely drugged. You know, the most majority of these individuals are drugged out. You know, so you've got a sport, quote unquote sport. It's not a sport. You've got a beauty pageant that is legally allowed to use steroids and drugs and, you know, PEDs or whatever, and get out there and, you know, have a beautification battle. A beautification battle for only a period of time that only lasts while they're on that stage. People actually die from that stuff, man, during the training. I'm not saying people haven't died from boxing, because they do. I'm not saying that people don't die from combat sports, but they do. But to die for the look, I thought that's what we were fighting against all the way across. We talk about women going to get BBLs overseas or whatnot and not making it back. However, the same look that they're going to attain on their bodies compared to the look that, you know, gym people are doing when it comes to PEDs and getting on stage to compare to each other, I can't see too much of a difference. They're both illegal. They're both for vanity. So is bodybuilding like a a hard work BBL? That's a fair question. Do you think that bodybuilding is a hard work put in BBL? You know, they're both dangerous. They're both, you know, using illegal substances. What do you think about that? Anyway, we've seen what the man said about the sport of bodybuilding. It's a cult sport. It doesn't move the needle. There is no, you know, what's the next level to bodybuilding? The next level to bodybuilding always includes a better drug. A better drug. That's it. There is no, oh, this person's going to be, you know, big. Like a lot of these bodybuilders of today look like bullfrogs. They look crazy with those big old crazy guts or whatever, you know. So that's the next level of bodybuilding. But yeah, it's all a beauty pageant. It's not a sport. There's nothing athletic. There's nothing competitive about it. You sit up there and you sit next to a man. There's no battle. You pose. That's my spiel about this, man. I told y'all bodybuilding wasn't a sport. It's not a sport. It's not athletic. It's not competitive. Do what you will with that. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on that. Is bodybuilding a gym BBL?